All right, good morning, traders. Today is January 26, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. It's the day trading division of the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you so much for being here. How I plan to trade SPY today. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Right now, let's take a look at what happened. Let's do a summary on what happened in the market Friday. So we'll start off with the morning 5+5. All right, so we've got my SPY pivot this morning, 687.75. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Silver and gold made new all-time highs. Diamond Dow and IWM made lower lows, lower highs, closing over or inside bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. QQQ made an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish cross over the 17 EMA. SPY made a lower low, lower high, closing over a bearish trap over the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend and 10-minute bullish consolidation. FNGU made a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under a falling 17 EMA. FUSO in an uptrend made a higher low and a higher high, closed over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. UNG made an inside day. That's a lower high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. US dollar index still in a day excuse me, still in a daily uptrend, closed near the 97.46 area. It's kind of fighting off that uptrend. SPY max pain for today is 689 with a put to call ratio of about 1.2 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. Those security options expire at 4. Index options expire at 4:15. The main event this week is the FOMC announcement at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. If this is your first time seeing this page, these are all in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are all in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they have a star next to it, they're building out a launch pad under the bulls column or a bull flag from which to launch higher. If they have a star next to it under the bears column, they're building out a bear flag, or I call it a platform from which to dive lower. Let's take a look at the markets this morning. All right, so here's a picture of SPY. This is my favorite, all right? So it's one I trade almost every day. So this is SPY on the 2-hour. So you can see clearly, let me give you the lay of the land. The 3 EMA, that's the yellow line. The white line is the 8 EMA. The green dots and red dots are the 17 EMA. And then we've got the pink line, which is normally the all-time high anchored VWAP. So you can see we've got candlesticks riding on top of the 3. See the thin yellow line right here? Riding on top of the 3, and both of the 3 EMA and the candlesticks riding over the 8 EMA. So we've got price moves up and then over to the right. So that's bullish consolidation. That's a bullish 2-hour consolidation right there. So price over the last 2 days, last 2 trading days, has been doing nothing but winding up for a breakout. Now, I don't know if we get a breakout today. We'll see what happens. But price has just been winding up for the last 2 days. And usually there's a big breakout. So we'll see what happens if we get a nice breakout on this. That's 2-hour. So 2-hour is in an uptrend because we've got the 3 EMA up over the 8 EMAs. Take a look at the 10-minute chart. So in the 10-minute chart, you can see we're still up and over to the right. So nothing but just tightening up everything. See how it's getting tighter and tighter? So we started out up here, and then the low was down here. Now we got a lower high. Oh, and then we got a higher low, so things just getting tighter and tighter. So this is bullish 10-minute consolidation there on the 10-minute chart. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that in the pre-market. All right, so let's take a look at the daily candle. And on the daily candle, we have a lower high and a lower low, but we closed over a bullish trap, over a bearish trap. Okay, over the 17 EMA. We're at the top of quadrant 4. We made a low. See this low right here, the red candle, lower than another low right here that poked through the 17. So that put us in a downtrend. But here's the good news. We're not moving down. We're moving up. All right, so that's it so far. So we'll see what happens. So we've got bullish because we're in the upper third. Okay, so we're bullish on the, here's our April low. That's the origin of the move. So here we are bullish, top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. But we're in a downtrend. But the good news is we're not moving down. Okay, so ever since making that low, we haven't been making lower lows. We've just been making higher lows through here. So on SPY, it's in a downtrend technically, but bullish up there. On the weekly chart, you can see all the green dots. Clearly, we're still bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, still bullish, still in an uptrend right there. Let's take a look at the game plan. And here we are with the game plan. All right, so we got red erases, we got red erases green on price below 684.60, okay? So it's way down here because I don't want it so tight up under there that it just trips everybody up. So I left my red erases green down here. Now I know this was low of day, all right, but it very well could come back down, test this peak between two valleys, and then rip back up. So price below 684.60 is my red erases green entry. 687.75 is my pivot. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Green erases red entry over 691.15. Okay, so right over that high of day from not Friday but Thursday, right there. Okay, so want to get up on top of that, do the whole gap fill thing. Still haven't filled gap up here. Not a good sign yet. All right, so I trade 4 days and 11 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest, which usually transcends into high liquidity, meaning tight bid-ask spread, and meaning less slippage on stop outs, okay? So that's why I like that. I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. Now I'm willing to give up performance because if I had in-the-money options, all right, I would get much better performance than an out-of-the-money option. But I prefer to have less risk on the table. And for that reason, I choose $2 to $15 out of the money instead of in the money, because in the money it's going to give me better performance, but I will also have more risk out there. So I like $2 to $15 out of the money. Now, if you want to trade 0 DTE options, feel free. I do. All right. If you want to trade in the money options, feel free. I sometimes do that as well. Okay. But preferably right now, I like to trade out of the money options so I can have less risk on the table. Now I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. If a 10-minute downtrend were to manifest up here, long before the red erases green entry, okay, I'm not opposed to trading it. I just like to see it break the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. Same thing with green erases red. If a 10-minute uptrend were to manifest up down here, okay, and long before it gets to the green erases red entry up there, I'm not opposed to trading it. I just like to see it break that 10-minute bullish rubber band candle. Okay, so that's my SPY game plan for this morning. Now go back in near the end of the video, and we will look at the pre-market to see what we can look at. But really, I'm looking for a breakout of that high and that low right there. Those two right there is going to be the lines I'd like to see break for this morning. We'll see if we can get any. As long as they stay in this lane, all right, I'm going to look at it as bullish consolidation. If they break out, that's wonderful. They did what the bulls that we're expecting. If they break down, that'll be a surprise. We'll see how far they want to drag it lower, or if they bounce on that peak between two valleys right here. We'll see what happens. So there's SPY game plan. QQQ's got a game plan as well. Now in QQQ, we got green erases red over 625.40. We got pivot 622.10. Red erases green underneath 618.65. Okay, it's the same thing. All right, I trade 4 days and 11 days till Friday, till expiration. Friday options specifically on a multiple of 5, specifically for the high liquidity, okay, the open interest, okay. The volume does not equate to liquidity, okay. The volume is nothing more than people opening a position in that option today and then closing it the same day. So that's volume is much different than open interest. So I always look at open interest because that tells me those people have been in that option for a longer point of time and they're looking to get out. Okay, so for that reason, I look at the open interest. All right, so again, I like a lot of liquidity. All right, because I want a tight bid-ask spread. I don't want to be paying 50, 40 cents, 60, 80 cents between the bid and the ask. I want like a 1 penny or a 2 penny difference between the two, okay? And I don't want a lot of slippage happening either, okay? So for that reason, I like those options because they tend to have more liquidity and a tighter bid-ask spread. All right, I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. You already know why. Same thing, less risk for me, all right? Again, not opposed to trading in the money options, all right? You will get much better performance than I will. But I have a risk calculator where I only trade 10% of whatever my account is. So I'm not going to have any more than that. My daily goal is 1% of my account value. So that's $14.58. That will be my daily goal today. All right. So for that reason, I like to trade the $2 to $15 out of the money strikes. Okay. Again, I said I'm not opposed to trading in the money. All right, just going to cost you more. You want a better performing product, you will have to pay for it, and with that, you will be putting up more risk. Okay, so just saying, there's QQQ. All right, let's take a look at QQQ on the 10-minute chart. I'm going to call it bullish consolidation, even though it came down a little bit, rested on top of VWAP. If you look at this move up and over to the right, so that's a bullish consolidation over prior consolidation. As you can see, this is up over this, all of this movement that happened on the 22nd. Everything on the 23rd mainly is concentrated up on top of everything that happened on the 22nd. So I'm going to call it bullish 10-minute consolidation. On the 2-hour chart, I'm going to pick up a clean one. Okay, you've got price candles riding up on top of the 3 EMA. Okay, 3 EMA and the candles riding up on top of the 8. So that is a 2-hour uptrend for me. All right, on the daily chart, we have a low that poked through the 17 over here. Okay, we have made a lower low. We have yet to make a higher high yet. Okay, so we're still in a downtrend. Again, just like SPY, here's the good news. We're not moving down. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, so on the daily chart, we are at the top of, here's our April low. There's our all-time high. That pink line's the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're up at the top of quadrant 4, so that's bullish up there. Okay, but we're in, like I said, we're in that, technically we're in that downtrend. Okay, but the good news is not moving down currently. All right, so there's QQ on the daily chart. Weekly chart, see all the green dots? We're still bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly charts, we're still bullish and in an uptrend. So you can see on the bigger time frames, okay, we're still bullish, but on the intermediate, all right, well, on the daily, the intermediate, okay, technically we're in a downtrend, but on the 2-hour, we're bullish, and on the 10-minute, we got bullish consolidation. All right, so my overall bias is really bullish. All right, What happens the next 10, 15 minutes? We'll find out when we look at the pre-market on that. So that's QQQ right there, okay? So QQQ, clearly on the daily chart, all right, again, still bullish up there, top of quadrant 4, all right, but in a downtrend, in a technical downtrend that's not moving down. So there's QQQ. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, so IWM, well, Thursday they put in a new all-time high. So here's Friday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. That is bullish and still in an uptrend. They have not broken anything. So there's IWM on the daily chart. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, so Diamond Dow, we got the sword pointed in the wrong direction, of course. Lower high, lower low, closing below a bullish trap, but over the rising 17 or the flat 17 EMA. Okay, so they did not make a lower low. See, here's the last low below the 17. This low was not below that low, so we're still in an uptrend, still consolidating up here. Look how they got pushed out, and the bulls just snapped it right back up there. So we're at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, so that's bullish. All right, and we're still in an uptrend because nothing's broken yet. Okay, on Diamond Down. Let's take a look at Stinker. So Stinker yesterday Friday, puts in a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, if we don't put quad lines on this, all right, let's just take these off and put a new set on. Okay, if you're going to put that, we're still down in quadrant 1 from the all-time high. Okay, from the bigger picture. Okay, see, here's our April low. We're neutral, but still in a downtrend right there. Neutral, but still in a downtrend. Okay, right there. Okay, because we're not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third. All right, so we're kind of meandering in the middle ground. All right, over here in the middle ground. So clearly not enough to be to be bullish. All right, so there's Stinker for us. A little bit of help on Friday, clearly not enough. All right, so that's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. Start out with silver. Okay, obviously, there's the 2022 origin of the move. All-time high right there. Obviously bullish and in an uptrend. Gold, same deal. 2022 origin of the move. Okay, way back here. 2026 all-time high. You can see them over here already putting in another all-time high early this morning. So gold, bullish, and in an uptrend right there on the daily chart. Okay, so let's take a look at UNG. Okay, so UNG put in an inside day. It's a lower high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA, still in the lower third, so it's still bearish. Okay, closing underneath that 12-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, so still bearish, but currently in an uptrend. All right, closing up over this bullish trap right here. Okay, because they got a high here over the 17, see it? And now we made a higher high, so we're in an uptrend, okay? To negate the uptrend, they got to take out the all-time low, which is down here. Or either that or make a higher low and then take out that low, all right? So there's UNG in an uptrend, but still bearish in the lower third. Trying desperately to break out of that lower third. They're getting close. They are getting close. That's UNG. Let's take a look at USO. USO got a higher low, a higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17, over, excuse me, this 4-year high anchored VWAP. That's that pink line right there. So you can see still not in the upper third, not in the lower third. So just neutral, but in an uptrend. Okay, so we'll see if they can hold the higher ground for once. Remember, they were caught underneath this downtrend line for a long time. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, see if they can hold this area. So far, looking good. So far, okay, nothing to get excited about yet. Maybe spring, this thing will be ready. There's USO. All right, let's take a look at our technicals. Start off with T2101. Okay, so this would be the breadth. So you substitute the word participation. Okay, so yesterday we moved to the right. That's consolidation. And we lost some participation. Okay, right there. So we had bullish consolidation, remember, on the SPY on Friday, and we lost some of the participation. It's just understandable. I mean, if you're not going to move anywhere, why would we get engaged? All right, so they're just waiting for the breakout. So hopefully when the breakout comes, participation increases if it's bullish. All right, if it's bearish, I prefer it to stay the same. We'll see what happens. That's T2101. Big gap down on the participation. Okay, not liking that all that much. T2122. We were in the overbought zone, so we spent the whole day Friday, almost the whole day, in the buyer's chop zone. Okay, we're still over the halfway mark, so the bulls still in some control right there because they're on the buyer's chop side. Like to see them climb back up to the buy zone or the overbought zone. We'll see what happens. 15-minute, that's still bullish. Clearly not as bullish as it was up in the overbought zone. Let's take a look at T2123. Again, more bullish consolidation. Okay, you see how price consolidates, breaks out, consolidates again. Okay, the good thing is they're not going up and giving it up, all right? They're going up and they're holding. That is a bullish move. That's a bullish environment. That's a bullish characteristic when they go up and hold. That's like going up and then planking, for 2 days straight. That's very, very difficult. Okay, it's almost impossible. So you can see they clearly have not made any lower lows. So we're still in an uptrend. We're still bullish. Okay, remember this day rate here, okay, was the all-time highs on the 22nd. 23rd was not. 22nd was all-time highs. So just look at the 23rd. Okay, look at the highs on the 23rd. Clearly, not too much air between those price bars and the crosshairs up there. So clearly just grinding away at the overhead supply, holding that higher ground. Notice they did gap up. Notice the bears did not fill the gap. Okay, gapped up. Bears didn't fill the gap right there. So still bullish, still in an uptrend over the rising 200 SMA. Hey, that's bullish, and that's where I want to be if I'm bullish on T2123. Let's take a look at the same product, but it's on the 3-bar chart. Okay, so here's our April low. Okay, that was our all-time high. That's September, right up there. That was our all-time high. We had a little mini head and shoulders right here. Okay, notice we came up and negated the head and shoulders pattern by price climbing up over the head and printing price bars or price candles. Okay, little mini head and shoulders right there. You can see that green line was the neckline right there. So we had that all-time high. We pulled back to the head and shoulders neckline. All right, and then we bounced back up over that flat 200, which is pretty much, if you go back in my past videos, that's what I wanted to see price do is climb on top and hold the higher ground and consolidate. Okay, and they did it. And from there, they made a higher low right here. And then they went up here to challenge the all-time highs. And you can see them ripping and making new all-time highs. So Friday, they did not make new all-time highs, but they are still consolidating bullishly up there. A lot of good news right through here. Okay, see this? Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Okay, bullish gap up. See the difference? They closed here, they opened there. Okay, bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Okay, another one. Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. This is showing you the bulls are in control. So, trading short is not the way to go. The way to go is with the flow of the money. Bullish gap up, okay, not filled by the bears. Move up, consolidate. Move up, consolidate. Another bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. You can see where I put my crosshairs right between those, right inside those bullish gap ups. Okay, so it's bullish. Okay, and then you can see price consolidating, planking. All right, they're planking. They're showing you that they have strength up there. So, okay, so that's bullish. Again, price bars up over the flat 200 SMA. That is bullish. That's where I want to be. You can see we're clearly, this is our April low. All right, top of quadrant 4. All right, so that's bullish and in an uptrend right there, T2123. Let's take a look at Stinker. Here's a 15-minute chart for Stinker. And what do we got here? We've got price action. All right, we got a low here, but the low's down here, so we don't have a lower low. So we're still, here's a high. We made a higher high. So we're still in an uptrend. And the nice thing to see here was Stinker went up to the 200, falling 200 SMA, went over to the right instead of giving it up. So that's a show of strength right there. All right, so maybe Stinker can make its way back up there. We'll see. Still got a bearish gap. See this bearish gap over here that has not been filled. All right, that's got to be taken care of soon, sometime this week. All right, for there to be any hope for the SPY. All right, want to see that bearish gap up get filled. All right, want to see some consolidation over the 200 SMA. Remember that, not just under it. I want to see it happen over and on top of it. Okay, consolidation over prior consolidation is a bullish environment. So you can see right here, we've got consolidation, okay, over prior consolidation. Okay, that's bullish right there. On the smaller time frame, okay? If we back out on the bigger time frame, what do we got? Okay, you got consolidation under consolidation, okay? So everything starts on the smaller time frame. See that? That's consolidation under consolidation. Okay, so it's starting out. Okay, they got an uptrend. Maybe they can grow this thing instead of just a 15-minute uptrend into a 2-hour or an hourly uptrend. We'll find out, okay, if they got it in them. They might not. We'll watch and see. Okay, right now, on the shorter time frame, they are acting bullish. All right, can they continue to be bullish for more than just 2 days? All right, it's only been 2 days that they've been bullish. Okay, so nothing to get excited about. This could be just a pullback and a downtrend. All right, so you can see clearly price, okay, underneath the pink line, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP, still underneath, falling 200. Okay, so just two good things, all right? Moving up and holding the higher ground and the uptrend. All right, that's about it. That's all I got to report for them. And they got a bullish gap up that hasn't been filled by the bears. All right, so that's three good things right there. But overall, still in deep trouble. Okay, so if we put the quad lines on this guy, on the 15-minute chart. Okay, so there's your all-time highs. You can see right there. Okay, you're down here in the bottom of quadrant 3. Okay, still bearish. All right, might be in an uptrend, but we're still bearish. We're no longer in the upper third or the middle ground. Okay, we're still in the lower third, so we're still bearish down here on the 15-minute time frame. Still bearish, but we're in an uptrend. Okay, so they got to keep moving up. They got to keep chugging along and make it back to the midpoint. Make it back to the all-time high anchored VWAP. Climb on top of that all-time high anchored VWAP. Consolidate. All right. Show us you're not going to give it up. All right. So a lot of work left for FNGU. All right. So let's take a look at U.S. dollar. Okay. So this is the U.S. dollar index. So you can see this is 2025. There's the high for 2025. And all of 2025 we melted off, okay, with a series of lower highs and lower lows. Lower high right here, see that? And a lower low, and a lower high, and a lower low. And now we're in this bear flag, okay, because price went down and did the hockey stick. Okay, so price action was in an uptrend. Let's take a look at this candle right here. That's the 23rd, okay? So U.S. dollar has made a lower low. So they were in an uptrend because you see this high right here? They made a higher high, so they were in an uptrend. Well, what happened recently is on Friday, you can see they printed a lower low. See the low here? Well, they took out the low, so they're back in a downtrend, okay, inside the bear flag. Okay, so price, here's the hockey stick, here's the shaft and the handle, and then here comes the blade of the hockey stick right there. That's the business end of the hockey stick. That's the paddle, all right, the face, all right, of the hockey stick. So you can see they're still in this bear flag, no longer in an uptrend. They're now in a downtrend right there. Okay, so that's the U.S. dollar index. Let's take a look at a few technicals here, and we'll start off. Let's get up my earnings just a second here. Okay, I got earnings calendar right there. Okay, so max pain for today, $6.89. 1 1/4 puts for each call that expires today. Remember, those security options expire at 4 p.m. and index options 4:15. All right, and then on the economic calendar for today, we got some delayed reports again. We're still trying to recover from the shutdown, so we got more delayed reports. Okay, but they're starting to double up on them. I noticed that. Durable good orders, delayed report, 8:30. Okay, Chicago Fed National Activity Index, 2 of them. All right. If you like one, well, we're going to double it down and we're going to give you 2. All right. Chicago Fed National Activity, both of them delayed reports coming in this morning at 8:30, right along with durable goods. Dallas Fed Manufacturing Survey. That's at 10:30. That's it. For tomorrow, we got consumer confidence at 10. We got new home sales, another delayed report at 10. The main event is the FOMC announcement on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Okay, so probably could see more consolidation until we get to the Fed announcement. We'll see what happens, all right? For Wednesday, delayed report, durable good orders. Okay, so we got 1 durable good orders on Monday, all right? And if that's not enough for you this week, we got another one for you on Wednesday, another good durable good orders. Both delayed reports, okay? International trade in goods in goods advance 8:30 Wednesday. Retail inventories, okay, 8:30 Wednesday. Wholesale inventories delayed 8:30 Wednesday. Petroleum report, 10:30 Wednesday. And then the FOMC announcement at 2 o'clock, 2:30, they have a little press conference. Okay, so that's it right there. All right, so that's it. We'll take a look at earnings for today and tomorrow. For today, the 26th, nothing but familiar names. Nothing that's going to rock and roll the markets right here, okay? They'll probably just help out their sectors. Tuesday, United Health, 321 billion. RTX, probably Raytheon, I'm not positive. That's defense, 283 billion. Boeing also considered defense, 191 billion. 177 billion is Texas Instruments. I haven't seen Texas Instruments for a long time. I don't see anything on the shelf in office supply. I don't know what they're selling, but they're selling something. Maybe they're selling overseas, because I haven't seen a Texas Instruments name on anything here in the U.S. And then again, I don't get out much, okay? So if you see something, take a picture and send it to me, all right? Because I'd be highly interested to know what they're selling. Okay, NextEra Energy, 177 billion on the 20th today. Oh no, tomorrow. Okay, and then Union Pacific, that would be railways, 137 billion tomorrow. Most of these in the morning, except for Tech, that's Texas Instruments, 177 billion in the evening. And then you can see we got Northrop Grumman, that's going to be more defense. Okay, HCA Healthcare, that's $106 billion there. Okay, the big one's going to be United Health, but let me just say, whatever comes out of United Health will just be a negative stigma for the day. It doesn't linger. There's not as much focus put on United Health as there is with technology, okay? When technology moves, it makes the headlines, and it seems to linger. The sentiment and the bias will linger almost all week, all right? Almost hover like a cloud over the price action, okay? United Healthcare will last like maybe a day or two, and then people will blow it off, all right? That's just the way it is. There'll be a new economic event or a number come out or release, and then you won't even remember what United Healthcare reported, okay? So it is a big number. That's $1/3 trillion, okay? But bear in mind, this is not going to have the same impact as like, some of the other ones. Like even Intel, with probably less market cap, will have more impact on the markets than United Health Group. Okay, so just saying that. Okay, so that's the earnings calendar. We did the economic calendar. We did Max Payne. Let's take a look at the pre-market. So let's go over here to my pre-market chart. And let's take a look at SPY. And you can see we're still winding up in the same two areas. We've got the ceiling up here, and this seems to be the floor. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way. This seems to be the floor down here. Again, I'm looking to break out of this range. Nothing more than more wind up. Based on what I'm seeing, okay, we got consolidation, but yet we ripped up, came back to consolidate some more right in the same area. Now, in the last hour, all right, because these are 15-minute candles, we have been consolidating over prior consolidation. We're almost beginning a new 10-minute uptrend. So I would like to trade a continuation of that uptrend. Okay, you know how I trade my bull flags from the bottom. Try to trade them from the bottom up to the top. From the bottom up to the top. But the ceiling, because this is winding up, just seems to be getting lower and lower. So now I'll trade it from the bottom up to the top of this right here. All right, leaving 20-30% in case it does want to do the breakout. Okay, so I'll continue to trade this from the bottom up to the top. All right, that's my plan for this morning. So it'll probably be a mark off the first 15 minutes of trading and trade that breakout. That'll probably be what I'm going to be doing this morning on SPY and QQQ. Okay, all right. So Fahard says, okay, I just want to read because Texas Instruments supplies a wide range of customers, including major companies, various industries such as automotive. I didn't realize that. I've never seen anything, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Industrial, consumer electronics, and their products are used by over 80,000 customers globally. All right, so they obviously have the global footprint, including companies like NVIDIA, Ford, Medtronic, SpaceX. Again, I'd like to know what it is they're selling. I just, in particular, right? And if you got a picture, I'd love to see one. Yeah, semis. Yeah, they're in the semis sector. Anyways, that's the plan this morning. I will see you all in about 40 minutes, and we'll open up the markets. Thank you, traders.